Hey Harmonizers, welcome to session 2 with Treasure. We're going to be trying to work on touching, and I'm using the dressage whip to help give me a little bit of distance, so that way I'm not trying to touch her with my hand just first, and then the goal is to be touching her with my hand. So let's get working on it.
Here's a little look at me starting touching of Treasure for the first time kind of on her back area. So this is me using a lunge whip that is a little bit longer so that way I can kind of reach out and touch her on her back area, but she is totally free to move forward. But notice I'm not actually chasing her. I know she's moving forward and I'm following to kind of stick with her so I can keep rubbing her to show her that it's okay, but my body tries to stay very relaxed and very neutral to try to not project any energy that she should be running around or feeling like she needs to be threatened. So I'm just kind of moving around and kind of rubbing her, but she is free to move her feet. And I don't actually have a lead rope or anything attached to her right now, so she's free to move in whatever kind of direction, and we can do changes of direction and things like that. So this is what's super interesting here is when I go to change direction here and I'm rubbing her on her left side, she very quickly wants to give me her right side instead. And here I'm kind of rubbing her a little bit and kind of directing the shoulders a little bit. I'm being careful not to drive her too much because we're really trying to focus on building her trust with being touched and things like that I don't want to start to kind of chase her around and or make her think that I'm pushing her around a whole lot. I'm just trying to cause her to give me the left side. But what's interesting is you can see, again, like she keeps switching to give me that right side. And she's trying to say like, hey, like I much prefer you to be on my right side. And this is super interesting because a lot of people think that horses prefer their left side and that you have to do everything from the left side first. And really that all just kind of came into play from military times of having a sword or a gun on your left side. So you would need to make sure it was out of your way, which meant that you would work with your horse from the left side. So it'd be out of your way for mounting and things like that. But here's a horse that's clearly showing that she would much rather me be on the right side. So I keep trying to cause her to give me her left side, and she can't even maintain even half a lap around the pen before she tries to switch and give me her right side again. And I get her to go a little bit to the left, but basically anytime she kind of hits a corner or anything, she really tries to give me that right side. So I don't end up pushing the issue a whole lot. And like here she goes around a little bit to the left and we start to get a full lap, which is like the most that we do, and then she gives me that right side again, and here I'll ask for the left side again and she can go around a little bit more. Definitely not relaxed, but at least she was kind of letting me go on the left side for a little bit, but definitely keeps trying to say, hey, could you please just stay on my right side? So I thought that was interesting. My other Mustangs have all preferred me starting on the left side, so she's having me start on the right side, which is a bit different. And there she's just kind of startling a little bit because somebody's holding the camera to film, but she much prefers me on that right side. So I decide that I'll just kind of keep working on the right side for now, and then when she gets better at a whole bunch of things, then I will worry about the left side and getting her more confident with that. So we're working on that touching piece here where I'm touching her with that lunge whip and asking her to stand still while I do that, and practicing being able to kind of take that lunge whip away and then be able to rub her gently with it and have her understand that I'm not trying to hurt her and that she can stand still. So this is a little bit of negative reinforcement, because negative reinforcement meaning that I'm taking away something to reinforce the behavior. So I'm trying to get her to stand still and kind of repeat this behavior over and over. So the way I'm rewarding her is a release in pressure from taking that stick away. And then I start to couple it with positive reinforcement. So here she let me do that quite a few times. So now I say, hey, would you like to have a bite of grain out of the bucket? And she's like, I don't know, that was pretty intense. Are you going to try to touch me with that stick again? I'm like, no, like you can always come eat your reward and I won't bother you while you're having your reward. So here's a little look at after I had been doing this for a little bit, and I'm able to rub her on her legs and rub her all over her back and everything like that. And I practiced doing different motions on her back, like back and forth or from front to back. Here's her belly, which she is definitely more unsure about. And that twitching that you see is just kind of like her saying, oh, that's like irritating. I'd rather you not do that. They do the same thing if a fly lands on them. They twitch their skin like that. So it just kind of says like, oh, that tickles or that's irritating. It's different. Here you can see I'm rubbing her chest and her legs. And she backs up a couple steps, but she's not overly concerned about it. She's having a nice little lick and chew there. So she's doing really well with this being touched. And of course, she has the freedom to leave if she wants to, or at least leave within the pen area. And so I'm happy that she's choosing to stand and she's letting me rub her all over. And I mix it with this negative reinforcement, meaning the pressure and release of kind of taking the lunge whip away or moving it to a different spot as she stands, and then I add that positive reinforcement in the mix. So my training with Harmony Horsemanship is a mix of both positive and negative reinforcement, because negative reinforcement helps horses that are more in that emotional state, and positive reinforcement can help that motivation piece once they're in that calm alert state. So it's pretty interesting to be able to work them together. It's kind of interesting to me because most programs are either like, you will only do negative reinforcement or you will only do positive reinforcement, and we're definitely that kind of program that bridges the gap and does both. So it's kind of cool. And here you guys can see I've progressed to being able to start to touch her body. So I switched from that lunge whip to the dressage whip and was rubbing with that and just kind of getting closer and closer. And then I put the lead rope on her and we started to do some leading, but she was a little bit kind of slow and reluctant. Was actually a little bit worse with the leading than she was in the morning. Of course, she finishes up totally fine, but just was a little bit more kind of reluctant to move her feet. Didn't do anything bad, like didn't run off or anything like that, but just was a little bit more reluctant to move forward in a straight line. So we still have to do a lot of turns and kind of showing her to give to that pressure of that halter. So that's probably her kind of telling me that I was making her a little bit nervous with doing so much touching and stuff of her. So we were practicing touching and kind of leaning forward, and she wasn't so sure if that was the whole program she wanted to take part in, but she's just politely communicating with me what her limits are, and then it's my job to kind of recognize those limits and say, all right, well, let's push you a little bit out of your comfort zone, but not too far that you get overwhelmed or that you lose trust or that this becomes a horrible experience for you. And I think we did a really good job of helping her grow, but not push her too far. So I was working on touching her. I was able to work up to her neck area there, and I'm starting to undo her tag and fiddle with that with my both hands there, kind of working on getting that untied and undone so that way we can finally remove that. So that was pretty exciting that she was able to stand quietly long enough, and so that footage I slowed it down here now that I've taken it off, but before that was all kind of sped up. So it did take me a fair bit of time to work on all of this touching piece. If you want to see the full longer video, you can go to the Connection Club. There's the tag there that I pulled off, and the Connection Club is the monthly club that has new videos every month, but also has all of my Mustang videos in it. It's 25 Canadian dollars a month, and you can find it at www.harmonyhorsemanshipacademy.com is all of my online courses, and you can find the Connection Club in there too if you want to check out that longer, the full video. I still speed up some spots because it's a lot of footage and I try not to bore you guys to death, but I go into a little bit more detail. So this was a pretty cool part where she actually seems to start to enjoy the scratches, and she seems pretty thankful to have that tag removed. It was a little bit snug on her, so she actually seems to kind of enjoy that a little bit. So the last thing I did after all that was finish up with being able to approach her and be able to touch her and kind of scratch her, and then be able to walk away and reapproach. And I try to do a lot of kind of leaving and reapproaching, so that way she can get comfortable with a human walking towards her and understand that it's a good thing for her, it's a happy thing for her to be able to have a human come up and approach her. It means good things. She might get food, she might get cuddles or scratches. So this is good that we practice coming over, getting those scratches, and walking away again, making sure that we leave it on a great note to head into the next session. So I did 2 sessions on the first day. This is the second session, but it's still on the same day as her first session. So she did a lot, accomplished a lot in day 1, getting all of this leading and touching and getting the tag removed, and all of this stuff is a lot to do in the first day, and she's been a real trooper. And of course I'm trying to make the most of the time because I only have a couple days to be with her before I have to head back to Canada, and won't be able to be down with her for, I don't know when the next time will be that I'll be able to visit her. So she's gonna be getting tamed as much as I can while I'm here, giving her breaks, of course, between the sessions. And then Jen, who's the owner of Harmonia Equestrian, will be doing a little bit of handling work with her to kind of keep going, so that way she can get her feet done and things like that, and make sure that she's safe to handle and can get vet care, and that if there was an emergency that she'd be able to help her and things like that. So I've asked her if she can put her into her training program, which I always prefer to do everything myself with my horses, but for the sake of making sure that she has the safe and proper care, then I've basically got another day to get as much done as I can, and hopefully she'll be in a place where Jen can go up and catch her and lead her, and then she can kind of continue on with making sure things go well. But I'm really hoping to get the big things all accomplished, because I don't want her to learn bad habits, because Jen, although she's a great trainer and she's started a lot of horses, she's never done a Mustang before, so there's certain things that you have to be careful for, and the horse learning to pull away the rope is one of them. And so I want to hopefully be able to get this leading a lot better, and maybe even lead her into the barn for the first time already, so that way that process can at least get started. So we'll see how things go over the next day, but it's pretty exciting where she's at already, being able to approach her and pet her and hook up the lead rope no problem, things like that. So let me know what you guys think, and I'm pretty happy with her. So